Somerset and Peter Trego in particular, with a 54-ball 100, produced an incredible last day performance to win their third successive championship match to stay third in the table. Welcome to the extraordinary highlights of an amazing day's cricket. The day actually began cautiously as Yorkshire skipper Anthony McGrath allowed his side to bat on for 20 minutes at the start of the day, with Ajmal Shahzad enjoying himself as he and John Bairstow added 34 runs before declaring on 363 for 5. It seemed like a bit of a waste of time, and in the end it was, but not in the way many of us expected. The target set was 476 in 90 overs. OK, the wicket seemed to have got flatter as the game went on, but it was still a huge ask. Indeed, it would need to be the second highest successful run chase in the 145-year history of the competition. We couldn't see that coming, could we? You want to bet? They of course needed a good start, and boy did they get one, as Marcus Trescothick having another incredible season, and Arul Suppiah, whose day it was destined to be, played beautifully, adding a magnificent 187 in just 42 overs for the first wicket. It was incredible stuff. Yorkshire surely believed that they would have been able to attack, having batted Somerset out of the game, but that feeling of confidence was evaporating every time the ball crashed into the boundary, and there was a lot of crashing. On each of the days thus far, an opener has excelled. It was Rudolph on day 1, Trescothick on day 2 and Sayers on the penultimate day, so it had to be Suppiah on the last day, and he was not to disappoint. Trescothick was first to his half-century, yet another one for this season, and Suppiah wasn't far behind, his coming actually off fewer balls. Trescothick continued to play superbly. Already the country's leading run-getter, he now looked as if he was going to score hundreds in both innings. The Yorkshire bowlers were sick of the sight of him, especially when he starts glancing the ball for 6. He reached 96 off 117 balls with 15 fours in that 6, when he was unlucky to be out, playing on while attempting to leave a ball from Matthew Hoggard. By now, though, it was a real contest, with 289 runs needed in 48 overs, and Suppiah, now full of confidence, was not about to give up the chase, even if James Hildreth was surprisingly quiet at the other end. Another neat flick through mid-wicket took him to just his second championship 100, the last being a 123 against Derbyshire at Derby back in 2005. He knew with him at the crease and so many dangerous hitters still to come, there was a chance of pulling off a memorable and unforgettable win, and their chances were helped as Suppiah started to increase his scoring rate with some big shots. The scorer progressed to 246 when Suppiah had a swing at off-spinner Azim Rafiq and top-edged a catch to McGrath at mid-wicket. The opener had faced 175 balls for his 131 and hit 14 fours and 2 sixes to finally record the big score he's been seeking, and what a time to do it. His departure saw Somerset turn up the heat even more by sending in tall pace bowler David Stiff, a former Yorkshire player, as a pinch hitter on the day he was awarded a new 1-year contract. He was dropped at third man, and how he responded after that as he played some extraordinary shots off the back foot, hitting 4 sixes off some bowlers with a fair amount of experience behind them. The only batsman not to come to the party was Hildreth, who took 55 balls over his 18 before he dragged the ball onto his stumps. Stiff continued to flash the ball to all parts of the ground in what was turning out to be an extraordinary innings, as a victory looked possible with the likes of Craig Keyswetter and Peter Trego to come. He reached 49 off just 32 balls when he was out driving at Hoggard, and that brought in the dangerous Keyswetter in a game now perfectly set up for him. And he started nicely. He helped achieve what looked impossible in Bristol last Friday in the T20 Cup, and so he knew that this target was very gettable if they approached it in the same manner. But he edged the ball onto his stumps off Rafiq for 17, and Somerset was still 138 runs away from a fairy tale win. It now looked over, and Somerset would fall surely well short. But then came Trego with the innings of his life. He said afterwards that it all turned when he got the verbals from Shahzad, and how he reacted as he smashed 42 off 11 balls, taking 17 runs off 5 Rafiq deliveries, and then hitting his mate Shahzad for 25 off the next over with some brutal hitting. While Langer was content to work the ball around, Trego was just smashing it. What a player to have coming in at 7. His assault, as he sailed past 50 and continued hitting, meant that Somerset needed only 5 runs per over from the last 9. Langer fell to a catch behind for 24 at 414 for 6, but 122 runs had been added while he was at the crease. Trego went on swinging from the hip, and he was joined in the fun by Xander de Brain as they raced towards their target. The Yorkshire fielders must have looked up with mouths agog when they saw de Brain stroll into the wicket at number 8 with 62 runs needed in little time. It was so well set up for the two of them. Trego was simply amazing. He's often threatened to bat like this to win a game, but this was at last his day. It was one of those innings that would be put up with some of the best seen at Taunton, and there have been so many of them. The ball just kept disappearing out of the ground as he hit 9 sixes. His 9th took him to his 100, the fastest first-class century of the season, coming in just 54 balls. It'll be very hard to beat. Incredibly, there were 4.5 overs to spare when de Brain hit the winning runs, and moments later the heavens opened. You have to go back to 1925 when Middlesex made 502 for 6 to beat Nottinghamshire at Trent Bridge to find a bigger winning total by the side batting last in a championship fixture. It was the 4th highest run chase in first-class cricket in England and the 8th highest in the world. Somerset's seasoned skipper Justin Langer called the victory a bit of a miracle.